Howdy, hey, hello there, this is Spartacus2000 and today I'm bringing you a watercolour painting of a fairy knight. I initially drew them all the way back in April, which was autumn for me, but now when I'm releasing it, it's actually fall for you guys, I think. It took me a little while to get around to it because I haven't really done video editing before and we lost the first version of the video, so sorry about the wait. I wanted to base them around autumn because that was the current season at the time I actually drew them, but also because it's one of my favourite seasons. I really like the leaf colours and like how everything looks at that time of year, so I thought it would make cool inspiration. As you can see, at the moment I'm doing a bit of sketching just to get the sort of base layer of them down, all the figure stuff. I think my proportions were a little bit off, but not enough to be super noticeable. I also wanted to try and do some more textured hair, and later on you'll see I also played around with a darker skin tone, mostly because I haven't got much experience with those and I thought it would be a good idea to get a bit of practice in. Inclusivity and all that is quite important in this day and age. You'll also see that I kind of erase things as I go, just to sort of make things fit better or look a bit cleaner for when I have to go and put the clothing over it a bit later. The character's also somewhat femme presenting, though I did intend for them to be sort of a non-binary sort of she-they character. I also wanted them to have a relatively sort of athletic physique and sort of look like they were quite good at sort of like moving around and doing sporty type things. Also obviously had to give them some armor as they are a knight. They need to be protected so they don't get stabbed as easily. Here you can see I'm starting to add in the clothing. I'll probably add in some moss spots as well, because I sort of wanted them to have sort of the appearance of like, I guess a bit of a weathered tree. And it looks like part of the video got cut. Rip. Here I'm doing a base coat of a sort of light brownish colour to go under the whole painting. I'll then sort of like paint over the top of that with different colours. It sort of helps make the whole thing a bit more cohesive and make the colours all feel like they fit together a bit better. It's also important after you put your base colours down to actually let them dry, otherwise everything's going to kind of run and not really sit how you want to, unless you have something that you do want to spread around a bit more, sort of like the pink undertones in skin. Or like the moss that I wanted them to have covering their body because I wanted it to sort of naturally I also put a bit of green in the ends of their hair so it would sort of be the pop of colour that stuck out on places on them, to sort of balance with all the rest of the warm colours that I was going to use for the design. Here is where I was darkening her skin up a bit more because it had dried slightly. It's still a relatively light, warm brown tone, but it's good to sort of start somewhere, I guess. And here's the start of the leaf coat. I wanted it to have a variety of reds, yellows and oranges to give it sort of like a bright autumn leafy sort of colour palette and tone. I did sort of like the mottled look that the cloak ended up having, but you guys won't see that for quite a bit. Here's where I started adding in a bit more darker colours into the coat. Helped it look a lot more mottled, a lot more autumny. Yeah, not much else to say here, I guess. I think I also had to put light washes of it behind the wings there so they looked transparent, but I don't think I do that quite yet. I did use the brown to also shade the sword there because I wanted it to have sort of like a bronzy look to it. And here's some of those pops of red. Apparently it skipped a whole chunk again. Sorry about that. I think I'm up to the shading stage here, which I generally use a very light shade of purple to do, because I think it just blends in nicely, and people usually have a slight purpley tone to their skin, I guess. Purple's also just generally a nice shadow colour, so I use it quite liberally. As you can see, I was shading for quite a while. It's sort of semi-detailed, but not necessarily realistically so. think now I'm just doing the final little touch-up bits. After this, I think I start on the line work and then add in some white highlights. Though, obviously not after finishing up with the touching up of the cloak and stuff. I think some of my favourite features of the piece ended up being the wings, the crown and the coat, though I did really generally like how all of it turned out, to be honest. Spatters to the background, I'm not really sure why, I just thought it looked neat. Doesn't really serve much of a purpose though, other than basic, I guess, decoration. I should have waited a bit longer before I started on the lining, but I was very impatient and worked on parts that had dried before I moved on to bits that had not. I still would recommend for other people, do as I say, not as I do, and wait till your work's actually dry, otherwise the ink has a chance of running and ruining stuff. The lines did help pull everything together in this piece though, and make it look a bit more whole, so yeah. I think my favourite bit to line was the hair though, because again it was quite textured and I got to add quite a few little details in there, so it was quite fun to mess with. I also wasn't quite sure what to name them, so I guess if anyone has any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll let you guys know if I end up choosing one in the next video. think we're coming up to the end of the video because I'm finishing up some final details on the line art. Soon I'll probably move on to doing some highlights with a white gel pen, and then the piece will be done. Also, obviously, I have to add my signature in somewhere, but we're not quite there yet. Thank you guys for tuning in to this video. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see a bit more. Hopefully I'll be back in before another 2 months. Also, apologies for the questionable guitar music in the background. I didn't quite know what to do with myself, so I kind of just grabbed my guitar and sat here strumming to provide some sort of background music, because I've been having a bit of trouble with finding non-copyrighted stuff. Anyways, thank you again for hopping in, and enjoy the rest of your day and the last few minutes of this video. Bye!